is up, y'all? Welcome back to episode 42 of That's No Moon Pod. I'm gonna kind of get right into it. Um, Adam Devine, y'all know Adam Devine from Workaholics, Pitch Perfect. I myself am a fellow TII Nation This Is Important podcast listener, which is Adam Devine's podcast that he has with the Workaholics crew on it. Fan of Adam Devine's podcast with the Workaholics crew. Um, Listen to all the episodes. I'm a big fan of Adam Devine and his Workaholics stint that he had. I was a big fan of the show, still am. Big fan of those guys. But Adam Devine seems to always, just always seem to be the one guy out of the whole Workaholics crew that is always popping on something. And right now, he has this quote out that's making headlines everywhere and getting everyone pissed off as if no one's ever said this before. But this is what Adam Devine said about kind of how the whole movie industry is going right now, and especially with the whole writer's strike and all that. But he had some comments regarding movies, specifically comedy movies, and how these comic book movies, Marvel and DC, are basically ruining just comedy movies, just old school, regular, classic comedies. Um, this is what he said, though. He said that because the budgets of these comic book movies are through the roof, and each one of these films, and they come out with 4 or 5 a year now, these big blockbuster movies that are trying to top the one that just came before it. After the whole MCU run that we had, each movie seemed to get bigger and bigger, and the stakes got higher with the budgets because they needed to top the last one. So they just keep throwing money at these studios, Marvel, DC, Star Wars, even, and they just say, "Look, here's all the money in the world. Go make us a Billy. I don't care how you do it, just go do it." And as we all know, after Endgame, especially, things kind of took a turn, if you will, and Marvel, DC really hasn't been the same since, Star Wars included. Um, and I was actually listening to this podcast that Adam Devine was on. I believe it was on Whiskey Ginger, the Andrew Santino podcast. I think it was that one that he was on. But I remember listening to the pod while when it dropped, and I remember hearing Adam say those comments during the pod, and I was like, "Oh God, here we go. This is gonna be clipped out, and people are gonna run with it and give him a bunch of crap for no reason, just because he has an opinion on something." But of course, that's just how the world we live in operates now. Um, and I don't think he's wrong in what he's saying. It's just these headlines and all these different social media accounts and whatnot are taking what he said and kind of giving him the whole Martin Scorsese treatment of, like, you're just stuck in your old ways, get over it. Your movies aren't that good anyways. You're not even that funny. Not saying people are saying that to Martin Scorsese, but people are saying to Martin Scorsese at the time that, look, old man, things change. People go to the movies now to go watch these big budget movies, not your 4 hour long movie with 80-year-old Robert De Niro and Joe Pesci in there trying to be 40 years old when they're not. Um, and don't get me wrong, I'm a huge Martin Scorsese fan. I've basically loved every movie that I've ever seen of Martin Scorsese's. One of the goats. Um, he's just an old school guy who has an opinion on these big budget Marvel films. And when he said those things, people were giving him so much crap. And all he did was speak his mind, even though I may not have agreed with them or you may not have agreed with them. Who cares? And it's the same thing with Adam Devine. People roasting him in the comments saying he's not even that funny. I don't even know the last movie I seen with Adam Devine. Does Adam Devine even make movies anymore? Um, when in reality, Adam Devine is probably one of the more successful comedians turn actors in recent history. Um, dude's in a couple movies every year, a couple TV shows every year. Like I said, he has his podcast with the Workaholics crew. Um, so Adam Devine is doing fine. He's been killing it since Workaholics, since Pitch Perfect. People just think, oh, because I haven't seen his stuff recently or I haven't heard of him in recent times, he must not be popping no more. He must be, you know, that's just how people think, and that's just how people talk in the comments. Um, but like I said, I don't disagree with what Adam's saying fully. I just think what he said was kind of taken out of context in a way, and you know what he was, what I think he was implying was that obviously the budgets of these movies are through the roof, each one, and for people, regular people, to go outside and spend who knows how much money on these movie tickets, on the food, on the drive there. You got to really find some way to get these people out of their homes and into the movie theater and willing to spend an obnoxious amount on food and ticket prices nowadays. You got to make it worth their while. And nowadays, just the way the world is, people are so used to just staying home and tuning into their favorite show or their favorite movie that just came out on a streaming service. Um, Adam Adam Devine mentioned Guardians of the Galaxy 3, and that movie just came out on Disney Plus when it was in theaters just not even what 2 months ago. So it's like people are thinking, why am I gonna get off work, get in a rush, and spend who knows how much money for me, for my boyfriend, my girlfriend, my whole family, my kids, whoever that you're gonna be going to the movie theater with. You're dropping dough no matter what, and you want to make sure that if you decide to go to the movies, you want it to be worth your while. People just don't go to the movies nowadays and like, yeah, let's go check it out. Let's see if it's getting good. People wait and see unless the movie's hyped up like Barbie or the whole Oppenheimer rollout was crazy. Just the whole that whole cycle is nuts. Just the whole campaign marketing thing around it. You can see why those movies were successful when they dropped because they did it right. And those are two movies that, you know what? I think I'm willing to spend this much money and go out and go to the movie theaters to go watch these. I'm not going to go and, you know, wait around until whenever to see if these movies even come out on streaming services this year. Um, which I'm sure they will, just the way things are going nowadays. I'm sure Barbie will be on some streaming service by Thanksgiving, you know, right before the holidays or whenever. You could probably buy it way before then. Um, but just getting back to Adam Devine, um, like I said, I don't think he's fully wrong at all. I think this was his opinion. He's clearly not the only person that has an opinion like this. And when you think about it, I mean, I definitely don't go to the movies as much as I used to. Obviously, things change, life, um, you get older, and people just have priorities. And it all just goes back to whether or not, if I think or other people think a certain movie is worth pushing aside certain priorities or whatever and going out to go see one of these movies. But I don't think a lot of people are going to go want to go to the movie theater to watch a, what, like a 30, $20 million budget comedy film with a couple stars, right? From the, I don't know, let's say, okay, that recent Jennifer Lawrence comedy movie. I heard it was actually really good. Sure, it didn't take much to make. Jennifer Lawrence probably was 80% of that film's budget. But it was like an old school comedy movie in theaters, and it did pretty well for the budget and the genre of film it was. And it kind of seemed like maybe things are going to slowly start going back to the way things were. And I think in a way it kind of is, because you're seeing that Jennifer Lawrence comedy, that Sounds of Freedom movie. Um, you're getting a lot of these A24 independent films. That recent horror movie that they just produced, Look at Me or something. I forgot what it's called, but right now, especially with the writer strike going on and the whole thing with the craziness with the whole Hollywood situation, I think right now and in the near future, more and more films like the comedies that Adam Devine is wishing would come back, um, are going to slowly start to creep into the zeitgeist of pop culture again. Because I think for the longest time, and especially just the way the world is now, everything's so fast, so quick. All the videos on our phones are 10 seconds or less. Um, there's no pauses. There's just a bunch of cuts for every YouTube video that you see now. It seems like no one makes any grammar mistakes, or it just seems like everyone can talk like they're freaking Stone Cold Steve Austin in 1999. You know, they're just not skipping a beat. But in reality, we all know that's not true, right? How many times you go talk to someone and you're in the middle of a sentence and you just stumble on your words, your voice cracks, whatever. Things like that happen. But to get back to it, I recently just watched Memento, the kind of the first film, I guess, that really popped off Christopher Nolan back in the day. Guy Pearce, Carrie Ann Moss. Um, and I remember thinking while I was watching the movie that this is so, it just holds up still. And the movie's probably older than you listening to this. Um, the film, just the style, the writing, the acting, everything about it, just that noir type mystery thriller of a movie with the twists and turns. And just, if you haven't seen Memento by Christopher Nolan with Guy Pearce, you gotta watch that movie if you're a Christopher Nolan fan, or if you're just a film buff in general. Um, highly recommend Memento. But that was one movie, especially even if you look back, probably had hardly no budget at all, but it still stands the test of time. And I think filmmakers are going to start getting more in tune with that creative side that I know that these filmmakers have. Is just nowadays every filmmaker has to direct a big blockbuster movie. You got to get a Star Wars film. You got to get a Marvel film. Just got to get one of these movies. And no one is kind of sticking to their niche, or just what they do best and what they love to do best. Besides Quentin Tarantino, even though Quentin Tarantino was rumored to be doing a Star Trek movie or something a long time ago, and everyone always brings up whether or not he would direct a Star Wars movie or a James Bond movie. And obviously, right, we would want Quentin to direct all those things, but he knows that he's not that type of filmmaker, and he knows what kind of films that he likes to make. And he's not going to just say, hey, let me direct uh, the new Superman movie, or let me direct the next Star Wars movie, or whatever. He don't care about all that. And there was a time, if you all remember, when just these movies would come out every month, and they would just be these simple but to the point films that made you feel good, that made you laugh, made you cry, whatever. And they didn't go crazy with these budgets and all this CGI and just all this mediocre storytelling just to kind of tie in these TV shows and movies together. Things just got real messy right after Endgame, and Star Wars has been messy since the whole Disney merger, and it still is to this day. And DC's been messy. James Gunn coming in, hopefully cleaning things up, but right now it's still looking pretty messy for DC. Um, Gal Gadot came out and said that her and James Gunn are working on something for Wonder Woman in the next slate of the DC universe, but I don't think James Gunn came out and was like, "Yeah, that's for show." So I think Gal Gadot is wishful thinking, and I think a lot of people who know certain things within the film industry, usually when an actor comes out and says something like that, it's probably not going to be true. You got to wait until the suits come out and confirm it, or James Gunn himself. um, don't take actors words for truth, because they're wishful thinking. At the same time, they want to keep working, they love the character, I'm sure. And I'm sure Henry Cavill would have loved to still be Superman if it wasn't for this new direction that they're going. And if they kicked out Henry Cavill and don't want to bring him back, what makes you think that they're going to want to bring back Gal Gadot and her coming out and just saying, "Yeah, I'll be back. We're working on something." Come on now. Ezra Miller, they're out of here. No more Flash. Jason Momoa, this next Aquaman movie is probably going to be cheeks, but supposedly there's talk about him coming back and playing Lobo and no longer being Aquaman, which I would be down for. But it's like, dude, he was just Aquaman like last week. That's what I'm saying. Everything is just messy with these studio heads and these big budget films, and then people just all want to gang up on Adam Devine. Like what he just said was complete lies, right? He had an opinion and he wasn't lying. It's just people want to think that, you know, oh, I like those movies. I've liked all these movies that come out. That's cool. Everyone's not trying to make you, feel a certain type of way about what you like. He just said something and, everyone ran with it as if he's, you know, hating on the whole industry of these Marvel big budget films. And let's be real, Guardians of the Galaxy 3 was easily the best Marvel film since Endgame, right? Am I lying on that? You may have liked, Multiverse of Madness or uh, Shang-Chi or whatever came out after Endgame, Far From Home, No Way Home, whatever. But when you look back at the whole No Way Home, that whole hype thing was just kind of like the perfect storm right after the whole Maxine thing. Um, you're getting all the Spideys back. They're not confirming it, but it's pretty much confirmed because of all the leaks. And that's the other thing. Sidetrack. Everything leaks nowadays. Everything freaking leaks now. You can pretty much go on the internet and look up what's the script for Aquaman 2, and it's probably on Reddit somewhere. And then people wait and see for the movie to come out and are already waiting to hate on it as soon as it drops because they know what they saw beforehand was true and what they're seeing on the screen is pretty much confirming it. And then they go online and, you know, comment away on a whole bunch of nonsense. I it's weird, dude, like the state of not just social media, I guess, but I mean, just the way people make content nowadays is just completely different than what it used to be because now people have to watch what they say on this platform because someone somewhere behind a computer who probably makes crazy amounts of money can just go into your account and they'll clip out some part of a video and what you said was either what they thought would be misinformation or hate speech or something when in reality you were probably being sarcastic. Maybe you said it in a joke, um, or was completely taken out of context. But these certain people within these companies can take that as whatever they want and just can your account, just delete it. So if you've stuck around with this pod long enough, this is already episode 42. I could probably count on one hand how many curse words I've said. And if you know me in real life, that's not normally how I speak. I'm usually, what do you say, curse like a sailor. Um, I don't know. I got a potty mouth. What can I say? But you gotta keep it PG on YouTube now, dude. That's the only way you could get clicks, you could get views. That's the only way the algorithm helps you out is if I'm not on here, just saying a whole bunch of curse words and whatnot, profanity. So anything I say, anything that people like Adam Devine can say, everything could get taken out of context or just disagreed by someone else. But that should be okay. That's what we're all here for. We're all here to communicate and discuss our points of views in a mature, respectful manner. And when people make content and they'll have certain just segments, it seems like, to where, oh, I saw this dumb comment yesterday, and they kind of give them a whole voice. Oh, well, this guy, this said this and blah 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 blah. And I'm like, why would anyone who gets hate comments, if you put a hate comment down the video, do it. Let me know. Feel free to say whatever you want. I'm not here to, judge whether or not I agree with it. If I don't, I just won't say anything. I don't care. And I'm not going to give someone a whole part of my YouTube video and kind of give them some airtime, some unnecessary airtime, just to say this dumb person said this dumb thing, and here's why I think they're dumb. It's a waste of breath. That's all it is. It's a waste of time. The more and more that you feed into the negativity, the negative comments, the more and more it just makes things worse. It does. And I know some people, they just like to troll, and it's what it is. They think it's funny. But a troll is going to troll no matter what. And everyone knows how to deal with trolls. It's a story that's as old as time. And so when people make videos and they're kind of wanting to, they're kind of inciting hate, and they want it to come to them. They want all the smoke. That's pretty much what I'm trying to get at. They want the smoke. They want the segment in their YouTube video to where um, this is what this dumb person said, and I'm gonna tell you why I think they're dumb. And all that does is just attract more and more people to bring negativity into your life, into your social media platforms, into all that. And there's YouTubers and a whole lot of other influencers out there on social media who know for a fact that not only does what sells right now, of course, women, hot chicks, if you have a hot chick in your thumbnail or in your YouTube video, you're probably going to get a lot of views and likes. Aliens obviously is a hot topic right now. There's just certain things that people know that work for the algorithm with the content that they're trying to make. And being a hater or just talking crap online gets clicks and it gets engagement. And that's the main thing that a lot of people are trying to do nowadays, is try to incite or insinuate some kind of hate speech going on. They want all the comments down below to be just threads of replies of, someone saying something and then someone disagreeing with it, and then it just goes on and on. And all it does is just creates a toxic community and environment, and it's just so, it's just gross to me. um I wouldn't want to make someone upset on purpose just to reap the benefits of a like or a comment. um because people deal with things differently, and some people get a kick out of it when they reply to someone or post some kind of comment, and when they get into a conversation or some kind of engagement in the comment section, people get a kick out of it, and they can't wait to see what this person has to say, so then they could have a rebuttal right away because they're waiting for it. And there's a lot of just content creators nowadays that use that to an advantage, and they almost kind of feed into it in a way. And it's just stubbornness to the point to where they can't see what they're doing, because all they see is, look at the engagement, look at the comments I'm getting, look how many views, and people are clipping out my videos. And I don't care what people have to think or say, which is great. But when these certain people feed into it and they kind of give in to the hate, and you know kind of get into the whole dark side thing, Um, it's like they're turning to the dark side. They let the hate flow through you. And I'm sure the freaking if you're turning into a Sith, I'm sure that power feels pretty great. I'm sure Anakin was on cloud nine once his eyes are all turning yellow. Um, Speaking of which, whoever edited that conversation of Anakin and Padme with that Deftone song was definitely on one. If you know what song I'm talking about, I'm sure it's all over TikTok or whatever. Just some kind of random clip out that they made of Deftones and that whole conversation of Anakin and Padme, or Anakin saying he's lost and he's kind of just telling Padme of his feelings or whatnot. But again, what I'm trying to say is agree to disagree. Please be as respectful as you possibly can. Don't overreact. Don't be so stubborn to realize what may actually is being said. I have a temper. I'm sure you have a temper. Everyone does. Um, every day I try to get better in any way I can, whether it's mentally, physically, emotionally. We all got our struggles, and we're all going through it right now. And if you're not, I'm sure you will. And when that day comes, you can't not have sympathy for others that may be going through something a lot similar than you. So let me know in the comments what y'all thought of this episode, because this was just kind of a opinion piece of Adam Devine's opinion and kind of the whole craziness that that quote he had. And that podcast came out a few weeks ago, I think. It's not like I just saw headlines from IGN yesterday they posted, and I'm pretty sure that pod came out at least 2 weeks ago. So it's crazy that people they need to find something to say. They need clicks. They need something to talk about. But I'm sure Adam Devine's not mad at it, because I'm sure he got a lot more comments, engagement on all his posts and followers and whatnot. So I'm sure he's not mad at it. I'm pretty sure it might have been strategic by him, because Adam Devine's a smart dude. He's been in the game a long time, even though you may not have seen his stuff recently. He's been as consistent as you could possibly be when it comes to working actors in the industry. So yeah, he might have he knew what he was saying was gonna pop off somewhere, and now he's just reaping the benefits. But good for him, because I think if you get a lot of hate like that, and like I was saying before, instead of giving into it and letting the hate flow through you, you just laugh it off. And I think that's the best way to handle certain things. And yeah, I'm sure Adam Devine's laughing all the way to the bank right now. But anyways, this has been episode 42. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of That's No Moon Pod. I'll be back next week. Of course, like, comment, subscribe, hate, love, do whatever you want. Follow me on all my socials. They'll all be in the link down below. Well, all the links will be in the description down below. Twitch, TikTok, Snapchat. Still posting a comic book on my Snapchat. Full comic book, new releases every day. I got damn near 40 comic books on my Snapchat at Admire My Moon Pie. Links will be in the description, like I said, but go follow me on my socials, y'all. I'll be back next week, but until then, y'all stay safe, and I'll catch you on the flip. Peace.